Hey Hood, how you doing? Good to see you, good to see you. Do you guys have a time change? Is it like super early for you guys? Oops. Echo there. I think I've got most of my stuff set up. How we doing today, everyone? So the plan that I have for the day is maybe look a little bit deeper at some point into the issue we were having last week with the inheritance and the flashlight stuff. But I'm mostly gonna actually start building some stuff in Blender because I've been wanting to do that the past couple streams and I just haven't. Still 4 a.m., but for some reason I woke up at 3. Oof. Well, hopefully you can at least chill out a little bit. Sorry, I had to readjust my mic and didn't want to have it on while I did that because it just spikes the audio. Let's go ahead and load into the map that we've been testing our stuff in that has some lights in it. Last time we left off, and I think the last couple times we left off, looking at the differences in the textures here when it comes to what can Unreal Engine save. And actually, that's a good question. Let me finally figure out if like how much a difference in polygon count makes. Let me Google that. While I'm doing that, how's everyone's weekend been? Beginning of a new week. So hopefully Monday wasn't too exciting for you. But, oh wait, no, it's not Monday, it's Wednesday. I'm all kinds of messed up. How was everyone's week been? Also, I like the right door more, and I don't think the door should take too many resources. That's what I'm thinking too. It's only about like a kilobyte of difference, but I'm wondering if the relationship is that linear. It could just be that it's a kilobyte because the door is a small object, not because of how many polygons it has. I don't know it contributes to file size when it comes to 3D models. How much difference does... Oh. Let's say, what was the poly count of that door? I think it was like 500 as opposed to 100. Poly count matters, but not for something as small and isolated, like doors or smaller objects. For modern hardware, Unreal Engine's rendering pipeline of 400 poly difference is microscopic. Even a mid-range GPU can render millions of triangles per frame. You will never feel performance impact. Something that's small, okay. The file size impact is negligible. Physics collision uses separate collision shapes, not mesh polygons. As long as you use simple collision, the visual mesh doesn't affect physics performance. Okay. I'm modeling a house in Blender right now, and I hate Blender so much. Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of that today. As we're doing that, I figure I might as well turn on the keyboard input. So, like, as I'm using shortcuts, if you see me do something that you like, then maybe you can... Oh, my mouse isn't capturing. Hold on. I thought I had this fixed. That way you can learn what the shortcut is, because I don't always call out what my shortcuts are. Input overlay. Let me open up its properties. The one with the keypad. One sec. I thought I had one with a mouse. Oh, it's probably separate. Okay, that's easy enough to fix. Mouse. Yeah, they have a separate one. For mouse. Oh, they've got a fancy one. Might rip that one. Alright, we have a couple settings for the mouse. Let's go ahead and take a look. Add a new input overlay. What about Blender specifically have you been struggling with? Is it just like how unintuitive the UI has been? Hey, Mess, how you doing? Here we go, input overlay. That took me way too long to find. Mouse. Overlay image will use... This one. This one. Oh, that's kind of cursed. Let me change the sensitivity. Nope, that's awful. I'm trying to, if you can't tell what I'm trying to do, the ball in the middle is supposed to tell you what direction my mouse is moving. But like, it's giving me sensitivity sliders that just don't make a lot of sense. Well, that's a little bit better. Well, let's go back to 0, 0, the default. Is there a different one I can use? Mouse dot. Mouse arrow. No, I think dot is probably better. I might just have to not mess with it too much. But let's put it in a place where it kind of fits. Everything. Oh no. I'm going to look up some art on ArtV, which was the free public domain stuff, to see if there's any good public domain like references for mansions. So give me just a sec and we can look through some together. Let me do mansion. I did mansions on accident. ArtV is awesome, by the way. As soon as I pull up the link for us to look at, send it in chat so that people can follow along. Give me just a sec. Okay. One more sec here. Okay. Looking mostly for interior. I mean, I do kind of like that design for like the wall and even the ceiling. We might try to replicate that. Is that the White House? A lot of exterior. Oh, here we go. Is this the same artist? 53 artworks. John Thomas Smith. The door. Oh yeah, one sec. Okay. Didn't find as much there though as I was hoping. Oh no, we don't have a lot of pages left. Oh, this is kind of nice. Tapestry room. Like the windows. By someone different. James Cockburn. Nice. It's like simultaneously very detailed, but also not enough for me to work with it too much. Oh, that's also kind of the end of it. Let's see what George got going on. George made like 10 paintings, then dipped. Honestly, respect. Listen. Alright, Cockburn, what do you got for me? Oh, okay. Okay. I like this. And this one too. All in a Gothic mansion, circa 1832. Maybe George realized nothing in life is free. It's not necessarily that he was painting for free. It's that it's been over 100 years and now George is long gone. And he lets us use our, or rather the government and patent office lets us use his art for free. Okay, I mean, that's some good references. I did just want to send the link to ArtV though, because I said I would do that. Rest in peace, he was a real one. Okay, give me just a sec. People are messaging me. I feel like it'll be rude to wait 2 hours to hit them back up. So in the meantime, look at this beautiful backdrop of snow. You guys notice that I got like scene fade transitions now? Yeah, I'm like borderline expert. Hey, Maddie. Can you send the link in this? Oh, send the link in the art channel. Yeah, good call, good call. There you go. Browse and download high-resolution public domain paintings, drawing, illustrations, and posters. I found a lot of posters there for the Recollections of the Desolate that I was going to use for like the high school posters. I just didn't have the opportunity to throw them in the game. How was the day? Day's been good. Day's been good. Not as tired as it was on Monday, so hopefully we're going to get some work done. I have Blender set up so that we can make some mansion stuff finally. Also, it's going to be capturing my keyboard input. You can see me clicking and typing. So that way, if anyone is trying to like follow along for whatever reason, for like the keyboard shortcuts I use, they don't have to, like, it'll be tracked. So, backdrop. Give me just a sec. How's everyone been doing tonight? I'm gonna kind of type something up real quick. Wow, everyone was talking so much. But the moment I need y'all to entertain the stream, you vanish. I'm back. How much are you texting? I'm just bad at coming up with words half the time. Oh, that's the wrong scene. There we go. We're back. We're back. Okay. I think we're gonna use... I'm tempted to use this panel. I just don't think this room is tall enough. Unless we start with the foyer, which we might. Yeah, I think so too. I think an exterior like this would be good. Mostly because it's very flat and square while still having a lot of depth to it. Which kind of lends itself nicely to the grid-like patterns that I was planning. Because the art that Dirt Rock made, it has a lot of square patterns like this, but there's also a lot of like curves and circular parts that wouldn't fit super well with some of the procedurally generated design. Ooh, actually, let's go with this. That way we can start with a bedroom. Let's start with the walls, and then we can add some of the accents, and then we'll do the pillars. I don't think... Should I... If I have just a square room, do I even need the pillars in it? Should I just keep them in the corner or just not have them at all? Because here they're only using the pillars because there's like an outcropping. But I don't know if I would want to add that, or at least this first room. I don't know if it would fit. We can also try to make those chairs down there. And then maybe the table. I'm a little bit less confident with the table. Those swirlies, I feel like I used to know how to do them, but it's since been lost on me. Okay, let's get going then. I'm going to move this up to a different screen. The last penny was made today. I mean, bittersweet. Why is this not... Did my power tools break? Okay, that's fine, I guess. It was always fun, like, the novelty of a penny. But realistically, I don't know anyone that actually used them. So it makes sense that we don't have pennies anymore. Blender. Okay. So this was the room size that we had determined. In Unreal Engine, we kind of mapped out what it would be. Like how big that room is, which is this. These are the exact same size. One of it was the individual grid pieces. So each of these are 2 meters in size. So that's, this entire thing is a 6x6. The 2 meters thing isn't gonna, that was mostly just for testing. Each block is gonna be 1 meter by 1 meter, at least in the grid. So kind of a smaller room to start off with. We're not gonna have too many fancy things in there, probably just what we're seeing here, a bed, a desk, a wardrobe, and then maybe a window or so. It is a massive bed. Well, if we're looking in third person, like, I would say that's a normal sized bed. It's a, probably a queen or a double. I wonder if just like my camera perspective is still messed up. Like maybe my, I don't know where my first person camera is. Okay, stage is set. Let's start modeling. Blender. So, probably gonna have the floor be separate for now. Let's add a new plane. Actually, we can duplicate this one. When you hold control and you move arrow, or you use any kind of any operation, it does that operation with snapping. This will give me exactly 90 degrees. and then you can press period to focus on whatever you're editing. What should the height for... We might need to go back to Unreal Engine for this, because I don't think I had ever actually specified what the engine height was. I just kind of eyeballed it. So we can go ahead and make a copy of this, bring it into here, and then just kind of rotate it. Again, this is a 6x6, where each is a meter in height. So this is 6 meters by 6 meters. Definitely too tall for a room. It looks like probably 4 meters. That kind of seems to be what I'm looking at here. Very Dark Academy. Academia. I don't know why I butchered the pronunciation of that word. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I think that's about 4 meters tall. How tall are bedrooms? How tall are bedrooms in meters? 2.5 to 3. That doesn't seem right. Mine's 8 feet. I mean, this is also a mansion. I feel like, let's see, if we put the player in here, it's going to feel like a super tall ceiling. Yeah. Like if we look at that. And partially just so that when we're in fixed camera mode, we're not super up close to the player. But I feel like this is super tall ceiling. Like, for most bedrooms, I can, or most of, like, the rooms in my apartment, I can reach close to the top to, like, hang lights and posters up. This I probably wouldn't. So 10 feet for them fancy homes. Yeah, that's probably what we're thinking. We're just poor folk with 8-foot ceiling. What is 4 meters in feet? That's 13 feet. So, how tall are mansion bedrooms? Like it's a standard. 8 to 10 feet, yeah. And up to 13 feet or more for extra large bedrooms in luxury homes. You called it. Okay, what I think I should do is, because we're also not talking about, like, how tall a bedroom should be. I guess we should also ask, how tall do we want one floor to be? I'm trying to think, is there a room that we would want to have it be more than 4 meters tall? Like, should it be 5? It should be 16 feet. I'm going to assume no. Oh, because, like, this would be the second one. No, put that Christmas tree up. I put mine up November 1st, okay? I instantly put that up. The moment Halloween came to a close, Christmas was here again. Okay. I think I'm going to do 5-meter ceilings, but I don't have to use the full 5 meters. Because it looks like this, between one floor and another, is 5 meters. If this is the beginning of the next floor. And that just makes the math a whole lot easier. But for the bedrooms, I definitely don't need the ceilings to go all the way up to what the limit is. I'm just saying the limit itself for what the bedrooms can hit is 5 feeters. Feeters? 5 meters, which is 16 feet. Oh no, and the mutts. Oh yeah, I had a golden, and one of the probably the best dog I've ever had, you know, the joy of living with. But that thing's tail was the Christmas ornament annihilator. It would just consistently knock them off the tree. And there was nothing I could do about it. Okay, well, let's drop this by 1 meter. And I think we have this set to increment snapping. I think that was 1 meter. And let's go ahead and get our tape measure. Yep, that looks good. We don't want this bedroom to be 5 meters, though. Again, we don't have to have our room limit be the standard for each room. We can change it as long as our room design fits within a factor of that limit, which is essentially, in this case, a 1 by 5. That'll be our... yeah, I love Goldens. They're so goofy. Okay. Now that we've got this, we can probably go back to Art V. Actually, I have it up. Well, I'll show you guys too, real quick, if any of you forgot. So, I'm gonna start with these panels on the bottom. It looks like it comes up a little bit. Then kind of has a rectangular indent. And then a rectangular indent inside of that. And then it goes kind of just back to the flat wall. And then it does the indent thing again, but the other direction. And then it has these little, I don't know what these are called, but it's like the decoration up at the top. The decal? No. Something like that. I forgot what it was. You love that room. Needs wood tones and some red. Stained glass. Stained glass would be cool. We can do that. Crown moldings. That's what it is. Thank you. So let's do that. So I can't edit outside of this boundary. So what I can do... let me think. Let's do this. Let's make a new object. And we'll just make it invisible. But we'll have this new object essentially just be what our boundary is. And so if we ever want to check to see if we've passed it or not, we can look at this. You're always so impressed with your streams, like. I don't know what there is to be impressed about, but thank you. I appreciate it. Oops. Okay. So now I can I set the opacity of this? I don't think so. I'm sure there is a way. But I can just like hide it. Or I guess more specifically, I can unhide it and then like go this X-ray mode and then just make sure that I'm not building outside that boundary there. Where did my wall go? Did this turn into the wall? Also, why do we have an acute angle here? What's going on? Go away. 3D art, I guess, is what you would call this. Also, did it convert my plane into... What happened to the other plane I had? Okay, I guess it went away. Fine, I can make a new one. Ooh, oh no. There we go. One thing I recommend turning on is face orientation. If it's red, that means that the player cannot see it. Because I don't need the player to see the inside of the wall. Because for all they care, it doesn't even exist. But I need to know that the inside of the wall is actually inside. I think multiple times on stream there have been issues where I didn't do that. Okay. So start back with this object and then go back to edit mode. Probably going to start with the loop cut slide. Going to try to be a little bit smart about where I'm placing these cuts. So factor, probably like a negative 0.75 off the ground. And then we can see what that is in meters. About 0.625. That kind of tracks. If we go back here, hold on one sec. What is 0.625 meters? 0.625 meters to feet. That's about 2 feet. I think that makes sense for this. It might even go up a little bit higher, actually. If this is a chair, I wish there was like a person here for reference. We can just nudge this a little bit by another maybe 0.75. No, it's way too tall. Uh, 0.25? I think that feels better. And we can go back to measure. Can I change an old measurement? .875. Let's make this a non-disgusting number, please. Actually, that's like a good size. I don't want to mess with it. We'll stick with it. We'll stick with it. So now we can extrude, kind of bring this in. Well, do we need to bring that in? No. If we look back at this. Oh, you guys can't see Blender, but I wanted to switch back to this anyway. It looks like one flat piece, and then there are indents kind of all across it, rather than like what we did with the other pieces, where this was kind of extruded out, and then it pushed back in. I'm trying to think if that's how I want to do it, though. Because I could have it to where it's like, oh, a wood panel that sticks out a little bit more from the rest of the wall. I feel like that would make more sense. So I guess let's go with that. It won't be by too much, probably. 0.1 is too much. 0.05. Yeah, I think that's subtle enough. It did generate a face I don't need, so we'll go ahead and delete that. And while we're here, No, never mind. I was gonna say we might as well hide this plane so it doesn't get in the way of our editing. I just don't think it's gonna do that. Let's also shade flat so we can see the edges. Okay, so this is the basis of our wall here. So, opinion time. How many, if we look at what we're looking at here in Blender, this wall. Oh, am I capturing mouse cursor? Have I not been capturing mouse cursor? Oh, it says I am. I don't know if it's just small and you get... Oh, I have to click on the screen. Okay. My bad. So, if we look at this here, like the length of this wall, and we look at this art, how many of these designs do you think we can fit in that wall, that side of the wall? I'm thinking maybe 3. We go back to Blender. Like one here, it looks like there's a smaller one we could have in the middle, and then another slightly bigger one. Kind of like what we're seeing here. 3 solid. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. Because they're also not uniform in size, but they're definitely like intentional. Because this looks like these 2 outer ones look to be the same size. Yeah, the 2 outsides must match exactly, and then have the interior one be a bit smaller. Okay, let's go with that. And then when it comes to this, which is kind of tough because we can't see it because the table's in the way. Should these... Okay, here's what I'm thinking. Those bottom pieces are symmetrical. Oh, my bad. Let me show you what I was talking about. These. We can't see what it's doing because that table's in the way. But what I'm thinking is that all 3 of those bottom ones are symmetrical, but just the top larger pieces are not. Or should this one also be asymmetrical? Because essentially, these are the same size, but the gaps between them are bigger, which is why it's smaller. But the space underneath it, I have a feeling, is likely the same. I don't know if that's making sense. Like if I were to cut this piece here and drag it to the left, it would take up this perfectly. Symmetrical? Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. We can also edit it pretty quickly. That'll add a visual anchor. Ooh, vocab words, I like that. Okay, let's start with that first, because that's going to be probably the easier one to implement. What I'm also going to do to make this a little easier on myself is I'm going to cut this in half. Go back to edit mode. Back to the select tool. The faces. Oh, we want to X-ray that. And goodbye. Then what we can do, we add a mirror modifier. But everything we do on this side, since it's symmetrical halfway down, it just automatically gets applied on that other side. So for this, can I subdivide this in a way that's going to make 4 equal parts? So I might have jumped the gun on the deletion. I should have done this first, but then done 2 cuts. So that's our third. And then make another middle cut like that. Then I can delete the other half. Faces. Generate mirror. Go back to edit mode. So let's start with this. I'm thinking that even now, mirror mode might have been a bit of a jumping the gun, because what I was going to do is do inset, but then it treats it like it's one face rather than two. So you know what? We will still use mirror mode, but not quite yet. We'll do that a little bit later. So we can select this, press I to inset, and it's doing this thing, which is similar to what I was talking about a second ago, but a bit different. Because here we can just click individual, and that'll fix what we were trying to do. And let's try a value. Well, let's at least get a good one for like the border, like this. So 0.02. And then we can extrude this down and in by probably like a 0.01. Give a little bit of depth there. And then kind of the same thing, but probably to about there. Let's do 0.1. Was it 0.015? No, it was 0.15. Root a little bit. Do 0.02. And then extrude, but change the size. And I actually... How do I do this? There's a way to change the size based on normals, and I forgot how to do that. We can just turn that off. I wanted to do extrude, scale. Oh, these are also kind of weird. Fix that. If we apply, so before I fix it, let me show you what I was talking about here. If I extrude and then scale, you'll see it's scaling in a kind of weird way, where it's applying greater scale to the edges than it is the top. That's because we technically stretched this, but Blender doesn't really know that we did that because we kind of just have to tell it. So we go back to object mode, Control A, and then apply all transforms. That tells it to essentially reset all the stretching info. Now if we do E then S, nope. I'm still wrong. Never mind then. That will fix some issues, but apparently not this one. Okay. Well, you know what? We'll just do this again anyway. Something like that. Another extrude. Or another inset I meant. And then extrude inward by a -0.1 to bring us back to where we were. don't know how I feel about that. Because again, right now we're just trying to mimic this part. Oh, we did kind of forget this, like, empty bit here. I wish you weren't. Oh no, I'm sorry. Is it late for you? At some point, probably during December, I will do streams like during the weekend at noon Pacific, which is like 8 hours ago. Because currently it's 8 p.m. It's almost 10. Ooh. 10 in the morning? Or 10 p.m. Maybe it's just like my midnight go to bed brain of p.m. Ew. So I'll say to me, I go to bed at like 11 or midnight, and then it's like, 10 p.m. is early in the day. It's early. Oh, hold on. I've been messaged again. We could probably do a horse race. I don't know. It kind of... a horse race is a different vibe. I can dual wield. Let's see. I do want to... We aren't accounting for that little gap, which we can do. Let's go back to X-ray. And then let's just lift this up a little bit. Try to make it like a more uniform number, like 1, 5. And then we can just grab this edge. Get a little bit closer. Oh, remember that edge we deleted because I said we didn't need it? Yeah, we gotta just put that back real quick. And then we can extrude this down by -0.1. And that was wrong. Luckily, we can just turn on edge snapping and then snap it to that part. Ooh, I don't know. Huh. Should it be like that? You think you'll get this room done tonight? Within the next hour? I might get the walls and maybe the ceiling done. And then we can import it. Potentially texturing on that too. But like the props inside of it, likely not. What do we think about... Okay. We're going to go back and forth here a couple times. How do we feel about like this part? As opposed to what we see for it in ArtV. We can zoom in a little bit. While I do that, I'm going to start typing or messaging. You prefer smooth, but I don't know who's going to notice that detail. I think you're right. I think maybe what we do, rather than having it come down all the way, by come down to me like be pushed in all the way, is more so just have it like that. Obviously, we'd want to keep that edge a little bit. Let's see if I can do this in a way that makes sense. So something like that. And again, try to give it a number that makes some sense. Oh, whoops, I'm in Blender. So something like this, where I essentially had pushed it in a little bit more so that there is a lip, but not as like significant of a lip. And then again, we delete the faces that we don't need because we just made a whole bunch. Much better. Yeah, I think so too. Hold on. What else can we do? Okay, I think we can start working on these middle pieces. This one shouldn't be too difficult. It's really just going to be mostly the same. It's actually going to be a little bit simpler. Let's do 0.5. Well, let's do 0.2. And then we can click these edges, since this is a small one. Scale on the y-axis? Nope. Scale on the x-axis. And this will give us that, scale it by a half. This will give us that smaller one. When we click on the face. Thank you. Do 0.02. Kind of pop it out a little bit, so it's not a super sharp edge like the other ones are. Inset a little bit more. Don't change anything. Inset again, then pop out. Inset. Push in a little bit. Actually, before I do that, let's make these ones so that we can apply the exact same operation at the same time. This one was 0.5, but this time we won't change the... Was it 0.5? That doesn't look right. It's like this. Was it 0.1? What did I do to get this one? .15? Must have been 0.15. Then I think this was 0.5. Oops, didn't mean to do that. There we go. You ever stream at 5 your time? I usually get off work at like around that time. So not really, because I like to go to the gym, cook dinner. During the weekend, I used to, and I'm trying to get back into doing that. But as the holidays approach, that just kind of became somewhat difficult. Although it's getting a little bit easier now. And I'll have a surprising amount of free time in December, oddly enough. Even though that's most people's busiest month. And then see how a bevel would look on this. How about if we just apply a bevel modifier across the whole thing? Looks pretty good. Let's see what different... I'm not a huge fan of that. I could probably make that cleaner if I do it manually. Do that in just a sec. Hold on. Also, while I'm stepping away for a sec, I'll put this back up, and then people can analyze details that I might be missing, because I'm sure that there are plenty of things that I can add besides just these little indents. Put this back on just so boom. Just so if people drop in for the first time, it's not like, oh, why is the screen stuck? there just also happens to be an ad break on Twitch. So you know what? We'll use this as an excuse to say that we are waiting for the Twitch folk. Okay, we're back. Welcome back, gamers. Sorry about that. You'd think, like, I specifically choose these stream times because it's like, oh, it's a Wednesday at 8 p.m. Surely no one's gonna want something from me. Surely not. And, well, if you've been here, you've seen the schedule changes. Like, the last minute stuff. Uh-oh. There we go. Not that it's bad, mind you. A lot of times it is fun. It's just I like planning things out when I can, and life happens, exactly. I just kind of try to go with it. Let's see. That looks good. Could probably bevel these two. Bevel, if anyone's trying to follow, is Control-Shift-B. It'll start with vertex, which is weird. You probably don't want that. If you hit V, it does edges. And then Raphael, who's also usually here, told me that if you hold Shift, it's much slower with your mouse changes, as opposed to, like, being huge. We do that. I think that looks much cleaner than the auto bevel. And this is also shade flat. If we shade smooth, I don't like the shade smooth. we can apply some sharp edges to it, but I don't think I want to use the auto bevel. I like this. Yeah, that was kind of cursed. I think you make the center a third of the outer. This? That was intentional though, right? That was kind of the design that we were copying with ArtV, where this was about... Okay, yeah. Yes. Or like this one was meant to be smaller than the ones outside of it, kind of like a sandwich. I guess the important thing, whether I was copying it or not, does it look good? And then while we wait, let's go ahead and apply the... It's too small by a smidge. Lucky for us, it's easy to fix. Don't know if the translation works the way I was hoping it would, so let's just do this. Let's do 0.1. And a negative 0.1. Hence, if it's a third the size of the outer, it'll look intentional. I'm also just a tired mom on the internet. Take my opinion for nothing. No, I feel like people very often kind of write themselves off. Opinions are good. I mean, there are definitely times where I've disagreed with opinions from chat, but it ultimately, like, people voicing things like that leads to me making a better game. I'm sure there are definitely, I'm sure anyone watching this right now can think of a game that's like, at no point did they stop to think about what their players might want. Like, didn't Sony do that with Concord? How many games have you made? I haven't made all that many. This is really going to be the only one that I hope makes it to Steam. No, you can't, says thanks, Odin. I was thinking of Concord, where it's like, who asked for this game? Or even like a game in a well-known series. I can't think of any right now. But they do things that are entirely different to kind of how the audience expects it to be. Like, if they added guns to Zelda, I would probably be just a little bit confused. Just a little bit, you know? What is this edge? Hold on. I feel like this is not right. We have like a ghost edge. Let's dissolve it and see if it still exists. Can I just delete this? Okay, quickest fix, select all, go to vertices, and then if we press M, merge by distance, that removed 12 vertices that we didn't need. This is probably going to be the ones down here. It's still acting weird. I could probably just delete this edge and it looks fine still. There we go. That'll be so awesome if it does. I think so too. The plan. We were talking about Steam still. Oh, how do we feel? Okay. When it comes to the bevel, so this is the vertice option, the one I mentioned a little while ago. It could potentially do stuff like that, as opposed to that versus like that. We can bump this up a bit. Does that also affect the bottom one? Why is it not affecting the bottom one? How to make a force and still have good FPS? You would want to do... There's like a foliage modifier. Oh, I minimized Blender, but that was the wrong thing to do there. I wanted to click Unreal Engine on OBS. So like this is a foliage modifier. And there's some type of calculation that they do to make it less process intensive. Because to me, this just looks like a bunch of models, and I think that's what it is, but... Oh yeah, I think maybe just the LOD is different. Or it's like, it's hyper intensive. Because if we do scalability epic, and we show FPS, I thought FPS was on this. Oh, it's on this one. And we hit play. So this is 40 FPS, so that actually does kind of hurt. If we get rid of the foliage, try it again, it goes up to 60, 70. So that's not like as significant as I thought it might be. These are also super like complicated tree models and textures. You could probably use simpler ones. And in all honesty, like, you would only use the models closer to the player, and then have it to where, like, after, like, 5 meters, it uses a PNG. Because that model back there is probably fully rendered. That could just be, like, a PNG that rotates with the player. Officially past your bedtime, but I'm excited to see how the room looks next time. Thank you for dropping by. I appreciate it. Get some sleep, though. You have an entire family to wrangle, so definitely get as much rest as you can. Oh no, I think in trying to fix this, I made it worse. What am I looking at? Oh. Oh, good. Oh, there's gonna be foliage updates. That's cool. Yeah, I'd recommend doing that. Did you ever fix your, what was it? You were having an issue with, Landscape Painter? You ever get that resolved? I sent a couple recommendations, but I hadn't actually tested those before, so I don't know how viable they were. Oh, I wanted to extrude that. Whoops. Yeah, I painted my landscape for a minute, saved, and repeat until all my landscape was finished. Okay. So it wasn't that you were, it wasn't that it crashed immediately when you were trying to paint, it's just when you try to paint for more than a minute that it was crashing? Or did you do the undo thing that I sent in chat? What button did I push? What is this? What is this? Oh, it's gone. Okay. There we go. It took a lot longer than I was hoping it would, just to get that edge to look okay. Ooh, those are kind of overlapping. Hold on. Oh, wait, no. It was smart. I love that. Hell yeah. Oh, I see. Your brush is set to the biggest size. 32 gigabytes is pretty good, though. It's definitely Unreal Engine just eating up all of it. Oh, I'm dumb. I'm also stuck on Unreal Engine. I didn't click back to this. I was talking about this for a while. I need to get better at, like, looking at my peripheral to see that I didn't hop back over. Okay, and then I think if I bevel this... I think that'll be it for this wall piece. And then other than that, it's just duplicating it for the other 4 walls. I should have been closer. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. We don't need to do anything with the floor. That's just going to be a wood texture. I did say that we wanted to do a... Oop. Okay, we're over our height limit. Easy fix, though. Easy fix. Let's go back to increment snapping. Turn on X-ray. So that takes us to 5. And I probably want to drop down slightly more than that. Maybe by like a negative 0.1 that I have room for the crown molding. I don't know if it's open source per se, but like you can get access to the source code. I think open source implies that it's like public domain. Let's see. I'm gonna Google that real quick. Open source meaning, because technically the code is still owned by Epic, even if you can make a custom build. But it's that they allow you to do it. Underlying design is made publicly accessible, allowing anyone to freely use, modify, and distribute it, which is not the case for Unreal Engine. Because technically it's not even publicly accessible. You have to request access, but they pretty much will guarantee give you access if you want. Especially if it's like the older Unreal Engine 4.27. So I think that's how that works. Extrude on the Z-axis only. And oh, whoops, I want to snap to edge on Z-axis. Hey Blue, how you doing? Good to see you as always. How's your evening? And then we can probably just do this. Drop a couple of these in there. It doesn't take too many vertices. We can get kind of complicated with it. Do this. Boom. Go vertices so we can kind of see the edge. And then let's do box select. Oops, let's do X-ray, because it didn't grab all of it. So something like that. Goes flat for a little bit, then this. Down a bit. Up. And then probably make this go out a little bit more, like these ones. Pops a bit. Looks a bit better, and then we can add some good. Been having a headache though. Oh no. It's usually, at least for me, it's usually one of three things. Not enough water, not enough sleep, not enough food. At least those are the ones that I can fix. If it's stress, I'm just kind of shit out of luck. That one's not easier to fix. There we go. It was all of the above for you? No. Exam week's been killing you. Ouch. Sorry to hear that, man. Winter break, or at least if you're in the United States, Thanksgiving break will soon be upon you. So have no fear. Gotta make it to the finish line. One thing I did want to check is, oh, whoops, not that. How well are these gonna sit side by side with each other? Like this. Because there's gonna be some overlap. And I can fix that because it's at a perfect 45 degree. So it's not horrendous to fix. I'm sure there's a technique I can use to do it though. Boolean would be one, but that really wouldn't give me the, like, seamlessness I want here. Because it would essentially only modify this one by cutting out the pieces that are overlapping with this first one, rather than making two different meshes that kind of have these corners already cut out in a way where, like, this edge is what exists. No one will notice this. Yeah, but like... Hold on. Let me show you this. I just don't like that. Since this would be a simple fix, and one I'm not going to do tonight, since that would be a simple fix, it is one that I do want to get in there. Because things like that will pile up. We saw that with Recollections, the other game that I worked on. And that, for the sake of time, I just said, okay, this is a little bit iffy, but it'll work. And the more of those you allow to slip by, the worse it'll get. Not saying that you should let it completely impede your ability to work on a project. Let's go ahead and save this, and then we're going to open it up in Substance Painter. We'll give it some paint, and then if we still have time, throw it in Unreal Engine and just quickly see how the wall looks. We might not have the full room assembled, but at least to see how it looks standalone. Gotta make a new folder, call this room. Trying to figure out what would a name for like these wood walls be. It's part of the room architecture, maybe? Room foundation. I can always change the folder name. We'll call this room wall variant 1. Selected object only. Okay, it's exported. Now we go into Substance Painter. I don't know if I'm showing you guys. There we go. And we'll go ahead and make a new props, room foundation, room wall. And okay. Discard the changes we made there. Boom. Now, I made one crucial mistake. I would call it Wall 01 FBX. That's actually not a bad name. Because that way you have all of the walls together. But if I have like a kitchen wall, then I'm gonna I might forget that it starts with a K, and then I'll have to scroll up from room wall. So it should probably be called like wall underscore room. But then again, I have the opposite problem, where if I want all the room stuff to be together. I guess that's just what folders are for, though. It's probably personal preference. Race car. So, there's one more thing we can do to this model, and we'll do it in Blender to make painting it easier. And that's going to be to kind of separate the different parts. So the crown molding is probably going to have one texture. These little wood trims will probably have one. The wood trim here and the wood trim here will probably be the same. So rather than me just talking about it, let's actually just start the painting process. If I right click, we can change this first paint. We'll make it red. And if we click this button, which is paint mask, and then we paint this. If I do Control L, okay, no, that's not super helpful. Ugh. Go back into edit mode, make some vertex groups. Can I make face groups? Is that a thing? No. Alright, we'll just do vertex groups. Oh, will this even let me use vertex groups? Weight paint. Not weight paint. Texture paint. Well, let's get one in there. Coloring, yeah. And now, good night, OMS. So this is a technique to make painting in Substance Painter easier. So for instance, I said that I wanted all of this to be one color. And I will add this to vertex group. We'll just call this indent. I don't know if that's actually the right terminology. Back to texture paint. It's still selected. Let's deselect those insides. And let's... Where is it? Vertex paint. And we want to paint vertex colors. Look at that. Now let's go back to edit. Pretty much everything else in this is going to be one color also. Yeah. We'll add this to a new group. Call this wall base. Sign. Go back to vertex paint. Let's make a new color. We'll just make it green. Paint set vertex colors. Look at all of these. Oh, missed one. Wait, did I? Paint vertex colors. Okay, I did. Do this. Same thing. Set it to blue. Vertex colors. And then I think probably give this one of its own. Make this one like the purple. And then finally, I think give this its own color. This its own color too. And finally, we have these edges here that we missed. I don't think we'll need to give that its own color because that's the only one left. Well, we might as well see how easily, if I can do it quickly, not by will. Yeah, that doesn't seem to be too bad. And then do some random color. They clearly matter. As long as it's different. Even white is fine. Okay. Now we export again. Make sure you have selected objects selected, otherwise it gives you the whole thing. Now we can re-import if we go back to our Substance Painter. Oh, my phone's almost dead. That's not great. There we go. Edit, re-import mesh, and it looks the same. If we go to texture settings and we go to fake mesh maps, we go and click, I think it's ID, color source set to vertex color, and fake. Now you might be like, wait, what changed? And nothing changed quite yet. Well, let's get a wood texture. Wood. Let's grab, like, this one, walnut. Not a fan of that one, actually. That one looks okay. But you'll notice the issue we had, and that we've been having, is that it applies it to the entire thing. But if we right-click on the wood now, and we do add mask with color selection, then we go down to pick color, and we say just apply this wood to the red. It does it. And I think here I can change its, I thought I would change its angle. Because wood grain doesn't really work like that. Absolute cinema, exactly. Oh, I have to open up the folder. Fibers. Rotations to 180. What I could have also done is made this separate so that those rotations could have also been aligned with like the direction the wood was going. I might do that next time. Give it a little bit more depth. We can do paint. All steel paint. Oh, that's not great. I feel like definitely a felt of some kind, because this is like this doesn't look awful. Linen? Paper. No, no one has wallpaper. That's kind of the plan, Hoden. Oof, and I messed up here. I didn't fix these UVs. Go back to Blender. The same thing. Select all U, unwrap, no, Smart UV project, unwrap. And if we go to export FBX again. I hope that Substance Painter lets me re-import without too much complaining. You thought about going, but you're a stay. Cool, cool. Yeah, I want to try to wrap this up within the next 10 minutes or so. Ideally, we can just get this done, throw it into Unreal Engine, and see how it looks. Let's do add color selection to, oh no. Oh no. Oh wait, what? Oh, I have to rebake mesh maps. I didn't click back to Blender as I was looking at this, but what I was seeing is that it did keep the same mesh maps, or the vertex map. So I think we just have to rebake, and then that'll fix our issue. So bake, vertex color, bake. And I think it's finished. So now we can go back. There we go, perfect. Add color selection. This wall here. I don't like that red. Change it to like a green. Oh, we can have multiple colors? Oh, nice. Red and green seems nice now, but I feel like it's just because it's almost the holidays. Let's get the, what color goes good with green? I feel like not a lot. Gold? Yeah, I like that. But that does kind of like, I like that look, but that makes the wood feel off a bit. So let's find a bit of a cleaner looking wood. You can use gold with every color. Is that true? I never knew that. Stylized wood? No, stylized. You go with what I want. Dude, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like something I would hear. Actually doesn't look too bad. What about acacia? Oh yeah, I think that's what I want. That looks clean. That's also not acacia. I totally butchered the pronunciation of that. Delete chestnut. Okay. We'll also probably duplicate this and just change what the color selection is. It includes this. And then we'll do the same thing down here, but we'll make it a darker color. So add with color selection, yellow. Oh, it's not changing anything. I even looking at the right thing? Oh, I am. Where do I find color settings? Oh, there it goes. Not as deep as I'd wanted it to be, but I don't know which of these colors changes it, because this base color doesn't seem to do anything. Because it's like some procedural thing, and I don't know what that is. Then maybe we can use some kind of different thing on the inside? You're probably onto something, Odin. You might be onto something with that. Oh, let's use the felt. Again. For this. No. I think it works for the top, but it doesn't work for this. Probably just make it wood again. We can always come back later and change it. Same thing with this. I don't know why. There's probably a way to add like multiple masks. Oh, I could probably just add multiple masks. It's probably just that simple. Oh yeah, that'll do it. Oh, no, that didn't work. That just got rid of it. You'd think the word add would mean like it gives you multiple. Oh, because it's masking anything but. Okay. Never mind. Skill issue on my part. Continue with the festivities, I guess. And then let's get a nice marble for the crown molding. I don't like how bright the wood color is, but... And the marble being white, I'm also not a fan of... How easily can I change that? Black marble. Take it. Cool. I'm going to export these textures. Or copy them over to what's this project called? It's room wall. There it is. I just copy that over into my art folder. Now if we go back to Unreal Engine. Why are these so big? Level prototyping is what I want. I need to clean up where I'm putting things here. This has gone far enough. Door, new folder, wall. Grab our FBX. Don't create new materials. We're going to make our own. And then we add it. And then we can grab this, make a copy of it. You guys can't see it, but I have this open in a different window and I'm just clicking and dragging it. That way I can make the changes quickly. So, base color, normal, illusion. Same thing here. I just want to pull it off and drop it. Okay. Back to where we've been testing our objects. Folders upon folders. Yeah, it's just kind of my workflow, unfortunately. Need to fix it. The position is also kind of messed up, but I guess that's fine. Now we also didn't add any scratches to it, which we could have. So if we went back to like Substance Painter, and there's not really a need to re-export after I do this, because it looks better in here, I think, than it does in the engine. Because, I mean, obviously this is the texture making app. Of course the textures are going to look good. But if we go to texture settings and we bake mesh maps, and we bake again, now that the textures are already in there, we can add some effects to it. So, like damage, edge damage. You can see it applies an edge damage to the wood there. And then I can change it so it's a little bit more subtle. Like the damage color. To like either a black or a gray or something like that. And then I'm doing this quickly. I probably won't keep this. We just like some stains. Actually, do they have a stain one? Stains, scratches. Hmm. I change the opacity on this? A little too much. I don't know if I can. All right. Like we could add these extra stains and stuff in there too. And next time I'll probably do that. But for now we'll get rid of them. We kind of have a clean slate to work with. I'm going to save this project because I've learned from my mistakes. Now let's hop back over to Unreal and we'll take one last final look before we wrap up. When you have a 2K texture, but with very many details like scratches, would it affect performance? Nope. Nope. That texture is going to be 2K regardless of how many, like, regardless of the colors of the pixels within them. Now, there are some things that maybe Unreal Engine can do to where, like, if you know, you have a 2K texture, but it's all one color and it's blue, then it might like figure that out and optimize it for you. But in most cases, even like this, like there's not much that is similar enough to where I think the engine is going to treat it any differently than it would if there were more and more scratches on there. Green looks crap. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it now that I see it here. I was kind of like, there was a room, I don't know if it's in here. Oh, this is green. It's green and gold, but it's not the lime Christmas green that I used. It's definitely more of like paint one. And I do like the felt material he has on this. We can also, I'll see if I can make a design like this somehow and imprint it onto the texture too. I don't think he modeled that on. If he did, that's insane. No, it looks like it's painted on. What I was gonna do. Yeah, the green looks duty. But let's at least get into the engine and walk around and get a real close-up look of it. The model at least looks good, I think. The height is about what I was expecting. It's kind of tall. But I don't think I really need to focus on that too much. Because, like, it gives me room to put, like, a mini chandelier in here. And again, if we, like, try to compare the scale with what we have in ArtV. Like, let's say this is the chair. This probably goes up to, what, like, chest height? A person might be about this tall. That's still, like, another maybe meter or so. Or about, like, 3 feet above where the person is standing. And I think that's about what we're seeing here. No, okay. Ours is definitely much, much taller. So we can even drop it a bit more. We'll see. I feel like once we have the walls placed together and then with stuff in the room, it'll be able to see. The person isn't 3 meters tall. Yeah. Well, wait. Well, before I say anything else, I think you're right. But when I said wait, this is meant to be... This is 5 meters tall. Which about tracks, right? Because we're about a little over 2? No. Because we're less than half. We're probably like slightly above a quarter of the height. Oh, sorry. My bad. I did that again. This. So, I think you're right. Like, the distance between the player is... The player's head is about where the light bulb is now. This is about like 2 or 3 meters, maybe. Probably closer to 2. As opposed to what we have in ArtV. Let's say the person's head is right here. We're at the tip of whatever this object is. I don't think, like... Because they're over half of this design. Or at about half of this design. So ours is a little too tall, but not by a significant amount, I think. Like I said, once we put some props in there and we have the room assembled and we give it like a centerpiece, like a chandelier, it might feel a bit more comfortable. But that's where I'm gonna wrap up for the day. Any final questions before I set you loose? No, I meant in the pic. Trust me, the head isn't where the one object is. Don't trust me. Oh, you're talking about in this? Oh, yeah, I read what you were saying wrong. the person isn't 3 meters tall. In the pic, the head isn't where the one object is. Okay. I think that makes sense. Regardless, I think, like, whether we're matching the picture or not, all I care about is if it looks good in the game standalone. Dude, you know, I think it's time to... Okay, yeah, fair enough. Let's get out of here. Oh, but before we go, if any of you want to tune in next time, we'll be starting a little bit later in the Why is this... Hold on, I can fix this. I can fix this. Boom. If any of you want to catch the next live stream, that's going to be in 2 days at 10 p.m. Pacific. It is currently 9:10 Pacific. So if you tune in 2 days from now, it would be starting in about an hour if you want to join the next stream. If you want to catch the next stream, but you don't want to join the Discord, because this has the local time zones updated automatically, easiest thing to do is just follow the live stream or follow the channel on YouTube. And if you're looking for something to watch and I happen to be streaming, you'll likely catch it. No, I don't want to watch the next live stream. Oh. Well then, thanks for dropping by tonight. Yeah. I think that's about it. Thanks for all the input and all the feedback. I always appreciate it. Makes my life easier rather than guessing what people will think. If I can just get people to tell me directly. Oh, I should save my Blender file because I will forget. And I do that too often. Room. Oh, I spelled room wrong. Room. Wall. Bar 1. Blend. Alright. I'll see some of you on Friday. I will see the rest of you next Monday. I think I'll be live next Monday. And if this is the first and last time I happen to see you, well, thank you for dropping by. I hope you have a good rest of your night. Okay, bye.